Welcome, everybody, to this episode of The Monthly Blend, a monthly video podcast brought to you by Next, powered by Shulman Rogers and the Big Idea Connectpreneur community. I'm Tien Wong, founder and host of the Big Idea Connectpreneur community, and we are a global community of over 25,000 investors, founders, and business leaders from around the world. I'm also CEO of Opus 8, which helps companies and alternative investment managers raise money through our network of over 3,300 accredited private investors, angels, and family offices throughout the United States. Along with my co-host, Anthony Millin, who's the founder and chair of Next, powered by Shulman Rogers, we are pleased to bring you this monthly video podcast, which will cover trends, information, and interesting research and tidbits, as well as fascinating interviews with game changers and newsmakers here in the Washington, D.C., Baltimore Metroplex. Anthony and I started this podcast about a year and a half ago as a way to increase awareness of cool initiatives and happenings in our region, and to break down silos and serve as a mechanism to do our part to help bring this region together and to foster innovation and entrepreneurship here. Today, we're absolutely thrilled to have a conversation with three leaders who are the co-organizers of DC Startup Week, which is an annual week-long celebration of entrepreneurship in our region during the month of September. DC Startup Week features over 180 sessions, dozens of speakers, and we'll have thousands of attendees, and we're looking forward to learning more today. But first, let's meet our speakers. We have Seema Alexander, who's the founder and CEO of Disruptive CEO. She's the co-organizer and strategy lead for DC Startup Week. We have Rachel Koretsky, who's the founder and CEO of Upay and lead organizer for DC Startup Week. And last but not least, we have Corey Lawrence, who's the co-founder of IRL Agency and organizer and marketing lead for DC Startup Week. And I'd love to give our speakers the opportunity to self-introduce themselves a little bit more fully. So why don't we start with Seema? Seema, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me, Tien. Thank you for having me, Anthony. We are so excited to be here today. I mean, DC Startup Week and all the stuff we're going to share for all the entrepreneurs in the region. This is an event that you don't want to miss out on. I'm Seema Alexander. You mentioned it. I'm the founder of Disruptive CEO. I work with CEOs and their companies to help them become scalable and sought after using a proprietary methodology called the Unique Method. I've been involved with DC Startup Week for the last 4 years. This year, it's going to be bigger and better than ever. And I look forward to talking about it further. So I don't know, Rachel, you want to go next?
Hello, everyone. I am the founder and CEO of Upay, a leading tech startup in the community recreation space around mobile engagement and reservation software. I've also been the lead organizer for DC Startup Week for the last many years, and so excited for this year of the work that Seema, Corey, and I have been able to put together for our 7th annual DC Startup Week this year.
Thank you so much, Rachel. And Corey, how about yourself? Can you give us a little background on you?
Yeah, absolutely. Hi, I'm Corey Lawrence. I'm one of the organizers here with Rachel and Seema, and I lead up all things marketing and tech for the conference. I'm also one of the co-founders of IRL Agency, a boutique social media agency working with lifestyle, entertainment, and hospitality brands here in the DC area to bring their social to life.
Terrific. Thank you so much, Corey. And now I'd like to turn things over to my co-host, Anthony Millin. Anthony is a serial entrepreneur. He's a venture capitalist with a national VC fund, and he's one of the nation's leading startup attorneys. Anthony is founder and chair of Next, powered by Shulman Rogers, which is disrupting the way legal services are being delivered with a unique fixed price structure, which allows for expert legal advice. In addition to being a lead sponsor of DC Startup Week, Next was recently selected by Legal Week as the startup law firm of the year, beating out many larger law firms. Anthony, how are you?
Great. Thanks, Tien and Rachel, Seema, and Corey. So excited to be here today with all of you. This is a few days before the launch of DC Startup Week, which I feel is one of the most important and impactful weeks for the DC startup ecosystem. And so I have a personal countdown after it ends every year for the next year, and I'm excited we're just a few days away. To start off today, I wanted to hear a little bit about kind of the vision and behind DC Startup Week and why it was started and its mission in the ecosystem. And so for that overview of DC Startup Week, maybe Rachel, you could walk us through that.
Of course. Well, again, thank you so much for having us here today. We're so excited to be a couple days out from DC Startup Week this year, and particularly important that we're back in person this year across all 5 days of events. We also have some events that are going to be live streamed and on Zoom. So no matter if you're at home or coming in person, we have opportunities and events and programs for you across 170 throughout the week. A little quick overview of DC Startup Week. We're the largest community of entrepreneurs and founders in the DMV region. DC Startup Week was started as all three of us that are here as organizers were founders ourselves, and the importance of founders and startups, investors, to have a place where they're able to network, connect, learn from one another, mentorship, resources of coming together across 5 days to really build and grow the startup ecosystem. As founders and as startups, it's such a roller coaster of successes and failures and challenges that you may face. And the only way to really get through the startup journey is having community that supports you and behind you. And that's what we truly believe at DC Startup Week, is this importance of community and the importance of coming together. So every year and throughout the year, we have programming, but really this week is where we push the whole community coming together to really make an impact here in DC, as our goal is to make DC and the DMV region as a whole the best place to start and scale your startup.
Great. It really is so impactful. And I think we are seeing a real growth and national recognition of the DC startup ecosystem as you see different rankings and articles being written around the country. And I think you guys have played a really important role in that national recognition that DC is starting to experience. So thank you. As we start looking at the actual week itself, Seema, maybe you can just walk us through some of the highlights of the week.
Absolutely. Let's start off with the different tracks. So when we think about DC Startup Week and the vision around it, we have early stage entrepreneurs up to growth stage entrepreneurs. So we wanted to make sure we have a little bit of content, or a lot of content actually, for everybody. So as Rachel said, we have over 100, I think at 80 sessions this year, which is the most we've ever had. This is our 7th year in running. Our tracks are for early stage, for growth stage, social impact, services-based companies. And this year we have our inaugural Web3 and business track. That's also really exciting for DC Startup Week in general, because if you are familiar at all with Web3, we're talking metaverse, NFTs, crypto, blockchain. It's one of those things that the DC ecosystem talks a lot about, policy and regulations. If you're a founder, I call it crypto business curious or ideating and scaling in the stage. It's just a really great foundation that we're going to bring a lot of great content and amazing speakers to. With early stage and growth stage and social impact, we have a tremendous amount of high-level founders coming in to share their stories and journeys. So some who are going to be talking about, like Tien Wong from Fiscal Note, who's going to talk about his journey from starting the company to IPO, right? We have Steve Case coming, which we're extremely excited about, former CEO of AOL, CEO of Revolution, talking about exactly what our vision is here, right? Beyond Silicon Valley, the impact startups have in DC and will continue to have in DC, and where we play in the larger startup ecosystem. Angel Rich, the CEO of Wealth Factory, she's going to talk about how building strategic partnerships can really play such a big impact in scaling your business. Each one of our tracks, from an early stage. Next, you guys are coming in with some incredible sessions on different structures in the legal system for early stage entrepreneurs and late stage as they're funding. Every night, we also have activation. So we know, for us, education is key, but also networking and connections are just as important. So every night we have different happy hours at different locations. Some are very track specific, open to everybody, super inclusive, but it just is a way to be able to network more with the peers or the people that you're curious with together. So overall, 180 events. 250 speakers, some of the top speakers. You just have to go to dcstartupweek.org, go to the schedule, go to the featured speakers to see the caliber of the folks that are coming in, both from a subject matter expert perspective, founders and investors who are going to share so many different strategies for, again, if you're early stage to growth stage.
Great. Well, that's a lot to be excited about. And so as people are listening to that, maybe Corey, you can give people a little bit of a sense as people are listening to this as to who you would recommend attend DC Startup Week and what from the attendee side they can look to get out of it.
Absolutely. So as Rachel mentioned before, our mission is to unite and grow the startup ecosystem in the DMV. And a side mission of ours is to make entrepreneurship accessible to everyone in the DC area. And so through the support of our sponsors like Next, we have over 60 sponsors and partners of DC Startup Week this year. It allows us to make this event free to all attendees, which is amazing because, early stage founders, idea stage founders, a lot of times they're bootstrapping or they're cash strapped, but these are resources and information that they really need. So as you can imagine, we have everyone from food truck owners all the way to Series C startups at DC Startup Week. So if you're an experienced entrepreneur developing a business idea, if you're a freelancer, self-employed, if you're a hiring manager, an investor, or a service partner, this is definitely the event for you. And what will they get out of it? This is a great way to level up your skills, to meet local business owners in the DMV. Something that we've been hearing a lot from people in our community is, since we've been virtual for the past 2 years, they felt very disconnected from the ecosystem. So this is a really exciting way to come to DC Startup Week, show off what you're working on, show, what you've been doing over the past 2 years. A lot of us have made pivots. A lot of us have completely changed our business models. There's a lot for us to learn about each other, a lot to see what we've all been doing, and just to get reconnected to the startup scene. And then another little part that I love to add in is that DC Startup Week, I met my co-founder of my agency, the opportunity to really meet incredible people, build opportunity, build partnerships. That's what they can expect to get out of DC Startup Week.
Great. So if you're listening and you fit that, which should be every entrepreneur in the DC ecosystem, next week is the only place to be is at DC Startup Week. So with that, Tien, I'll hand it back to you.
Thank you, Anthony. And thank you to our great group here, Corey, Rachel, and Seema. I have a couple of questions as well. And one of them is just sort of a logistical question about 180 sessions, hundreds of potential speakers, thousands of attendees. Like, how are you guys able to manage it? I know there's 3 of you, but do you have volunteers? How are you able to do this? And also with respect to the sessions themselves, how are you able to maintain quality and make sure that they're relevant to the attendees, et cetera?
Yeah, I'll take that one, Tien. It's called no sleep. We'll start there.
Lots of coffee.
Lots of coffee.
That sort of
espressos. But honestly, DC Startup Week is a labor of love. There are 3 of us, but we have a head of operations, Stephanie Ortiz. We have volunteers that are also leading each one of our content tracks that have been vetted and are really curating. I think the truth is curation is key, right? So we get hundreds of applications for speakers every year. We go through them with a fine-tooth comb. We really want to make sure that people have true subject matter expertise behind them to be able to share to this community. We also do a lot of curation and connection between leveraging our partners for introductions and sponsors for introductions. I think it's really about putting our own hat on as an entrepreneur and saying, what is it that we would want to know, right, at these different stages, and asking questions to our community on what they were seeking. So Corey does a lot of market research and surveys around all that. So as we are thinking about curating, it's also information that we can give to our track leads. In terms of what was the other question? I'm trying to maintaining quality,
maintaining relevance and making sure that, that it's appropriate for different groups. I know you have the tracks, which are awesome.
Yeah.
But, I guess you answered a lot of it, that your curation is critical, right?
Curation is critical. We try to be very descriptive also in the way that we talk about our sessions, because, one size doesn't fit all, and we know that. So if you come and you look at the types of descriptions, we try to tag as many as we can just for more segmentation, but it'll say, hey, this is for more experienced entrepreneurs. This is for that early stage who are in this process, who have this pain point. We've been trying to do a better job, those types of descriptions to help the entrepreneurs select the right session sessions for them. We also, just so you know, you can actually build and customize your schedule. So if you go up and you sign in DCStartupWeek.org, when you do get your registration, you'll get a different email that allows you to go in and customize. So you can go through it, customize your own schedule so it doesn't get overwhelming, because we know like there's a lot out there and a lot to do. But so those are the core things that we really try to up level Tien, to not only bring relevance and topics like Web3 that's new for the entrepreneurial community. It's early adopters, but we thought that was important enough to have those conversations early and bring the right people to DC entrepreneurial region so we can all build together, because that's truly revolutionizing business. So
yeah, no, congratulations on all that. And this is your 7th year, as you said. So you're going to have several thousand people attending we have at least 5 full days plus, So my question is about, maintaining connectivity with this awesome community of regional entrepreneurs, service providers, investors, and whatnot. How are you guys maintaining connectivity with this group of literally thousands of people? Do you have, an app, or I guess you were rolling out the Slack channel, but are there other things you guys can do?
Yeah, it starts with our newsletter. We put out a biweekly newsletter throughout the year where we put events from our partners. We put our events that are happening. We celebrate wins from different startups. So that is a great resource to sign up to stay connected to the community. Every month we do 2 events. They're both virtual. We do one virtual speaker series event where we have a expert speaker come in and speak on a specific topic via Zoom. And then our second one, the last Friday of every month, we do a founder mastermind event. So the Founder Mastermind is a great opportunity to meet people virtually. You come in, discuss business challenges that you might be facing. And then from there, we put you in breakout rooms to kind of meet individuals every month. We also have a quarterly happy hour that we do. So once every quarter, we do a fairly large happy hour to kind of bring the community together in person. And then, as Tien mentioned, we actually are launching a Slack channel this year as part of DC Startup Week that we're really excited about. It's going to be a fantastic way to stay connected to different people in the community. We're going to be posting all of our events that we're doing in there, but it gives people within our community the opportunity to post, like, are you looking for a co-founder? Are you looking for a developer? Here's like a resource that I found that I think could help everybody, and just be able to further connect with the community within the Slack channel.
One thing I wanted to add to that as well, for new this year around like connecting back to the communities, we've been working really hard with over 50, companies and resources that every startup needs. So think about legal services, customer service, sales platforms that you might be using of curating specialized discounts, perks, and promotions specifically to you guys that's going to be launching throughout the week. Over $250,000 worth of value of promotions. So example is 6 months off free at Zendesk, 10% off legal services with Next, and many, many more like that. As one of the things that we've learned and experienced as founders ourselves is that every dollar in the bank account counts, and the more that we can help support you get to that next level. So we've been working hard over the last year, really curating these deals and promotions for you to take advantage of. And we're hoping that helps you facilitate more connections across different providers to help you grow and scale your startup as well.
Are these discounts available to everybody or just to specific folks?
It's available to all attendees of DC Startup Week. There might be some stipulations for different companies within, but for the most part, they're available for all attendees of DC Startup Week.
Well, that's a great benefit. That's fantastic. In wrapping up, I guess the last question I have is sort of how can our audience help? We have a lot of people that are interested in this type of thing, entrepreneurship, investment, startups. Are you guys looking for volunteers, sponsors, speaker? I mean, how can our audience help out? How can they contact you? I guess we're doing a lot of promotion, so they'll be able to sign up hopefully. But if not, what's the website and what are you guys looking for?
Yeah, so first part, DC Startup Week is September 12th to the 16th. So we want to personally invite you to attend and participate across the week at any events and programs. And you can find out more at just www.dcstartupweek.org. In addition, we're always looking for amazing volunteers to help put on the week. We are a huge week, 180 plus events, 5 full days. So if you're interested in helping us coming and being there in person in various type of needs, we definitely recommend that you reach out to us via our website. There's a link where you're able to apply to be a volunteer. So we're definitely looking for some great people to help the week of, but also across the year of all the programming that we are putting together. We're always looking and interested in speaking with sponsors or partners to help support us from our DC Startup Week initiative, but also our year-long programming as well. So if anyone's interested in getting further involved as a partner of DC Startup Week or a sponsor of DC Startup Week, please reach out to me just at rachel@dcstartupweek.org, or there also is a link directly on our website as well. Anyone that you think that should know about DC Startup Week or get involved with DC Startup Week, please send them this podcast recording or direct them directly to our website, as well as we definitely are growing a supportive ecosystem here of really helping really build and empower the DC and DMV startup ecosystem as a whole. So any way that you are doing that yourself or looking to do it, we want to help support you in that way as well. We definitely collectively want to grow and empower the DMV ecosystem. So we're really here looking to be your partner and really looking to help support founders and startups at all stages.
Well, thank you, Rachel. And thank all three of you guys for what you're doing. I mean, we're really excited. Anthony and I are both excited to participate, to attend, and we're hoping that as many of our listeners and viewers will definitely join us at these events. Let me turn it back over to Anthony for any final words, Anthony.
First, I would just like to say on behalf of the entire Next team that we're absolutely honored and privileged to be a sponsor and supporter of DC Startup Week. And then also want to thank Rachel and Seema and Corey. We really want to thank all three of you for what you do in our DMV ecosystem. You play a really critical role through DC Startup Week. And I know it's a tremendous amount of work and takes a tremendous amount of passion, but it makes a tremendous difference. And so thank you for that. And thank you for joining us on today's show.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yes, thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Tien.
Thank you, guys.